everyone, welcome to another episode of See Me Solve. I'm so delighted to be here today, and let me start by saying thank you. Thank you for engaging with our content. Thank you for sending in your questions, and very importantly, thank you for forwarding it to people in power. You know, it matters a lot that they get to know the things that we are asking about, the things that we are saying, and the voice of the citizens. So thank you very much. Today is another exciting episode, and I have a wonderful person here today. He's a public policy expert and also a lawyer. I'm going to hand over to him in a moment. He's going to introduce himself and any other fun thing he wants us to know about himself. Welcome, Ngozi, to See Me Solve.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for accepting to do this.
Thank you.
Amazing. So please introduce yourself to us.
Well, my name is Roosevelt Ngozi Mbamara. I'm a lawyer and a public policy expert. I like to see myself as an ordinary Nigerian.
Right.
So that's about it. Thank you.
And that's powerful, an ordinary Nigerian. So meaning that you identify with what the average Nigerian faces.
Absolutely.
In a very deep and personal way.
Absolutely.
Which is one of the reasons why I wanted you to talk to people, and also talk to people in power. So let's talk about being Nigerian. So I'm going to ask you a few questions about Nigeria and let me know what you think. What do you think is the best thing about being Nigerian?
The best thing about being Nigerian, I think one of the greatest features an average Nigerian has is endurance.
Right.
Okay, we endure, we are hardworking, we survive under any condition, and we're very optimistic people.
That's true.
So yeah, optimism is our currency in Nigeria. So I think that's the greatest feature of an average Nigerian. Yes.
Yeah, and I think I've once heard that is also our weakness, because we're able to endure. We endure sometimes too much.
I agree with the perspective that endurance is also a weakness for the average Nigerian, because comparatively to other climes,
right?
You find out that the average Nigerian, endures a lot, and it's particularly as regarding government services, right? The duty of government is to provide basic amenities to the ordinary Nigerian. Right, so some of if I want to wax spiritual, some of the things we pray about here, right, are the things, very basic things that should be provided by government. So to that extent, the average Nigerian, the fact that the average Nigerian endures these conditions, makes it a weakness as well, because in other climes you find citizens, being fundamentally part of governance,
right?
By through protest, through, several means.
Sending letters,
various ways. Yes,
calling
exactly.
out
So
government.
Accountability. There's accountability. So, so the average Nigerian endurance, putting up with, these societal shortcomings, becomes a weakness for us.
Right. No, absolutely. Thank you so much. And last question. So let's talk about the concept of satisfaction. You have made a very powerful analogy that if an Okada man who represents an average Nigerian, or maybe an average Nigerian who might not necessarily be literate, goes to vote and then sees the outcome of the election and is satisfied that, okay, that was justified, that is then a free and fair election. Now let's talk about satisfaction, right? Because the opposition is likely to not be satisfied. You've spent money, you spent time, you spent efforts, and you lost the election. The most expected thing for you to say is that it was rigged. So my question is, the opposition and satisfaction, what do you think about that entire thing when we talk about free and fair election?
Simi, thank you for that question. I even think this question is rhetorical, because what is just is just.
Right.
We all have a sense of fairness.
Right.
You have a sense of fairness. So what is just and will pass the test anywhere in the world. The issue of free and fair election, I have noticed that we pay more mind to the outcome of elections in Nigeria rather than the process driving it, right? Although sometimes, if the process substantially affects the outcome of elections, then it has implications in a democracy.
Right.
You made mention of the opposition always crying about rigged elections and all of that. See me, what goes on here is, let me give you an ideal. Okay, an ideal and an idea of a free and fair election. Now, in a country like ours, what will represent free and fair elections is when the rules guiding that election are predictable.
Right.
When the process is predictable.
Right.
And this is where our problem lies. The process that drives Nigerian elections are never predictable. They are characterized by surprises, right?
Yeah.
Now, remember I said you have a sense of what is just and what is not
that
just.
It is the same everywhere
yes,
in the world.
same. Universally, if you put it to test, it will pass the test anywhere in the world.
Wow.
Now, Simi, what happens in Nigerian elections and why I am emphasizing on the process is, for example, INEC announces elections.
Right.
Publishes its rules and guidelines for that election.
Right.
You go to the election. On election day, you begin to see something entirely different, right? That is process. That is surprise.
Right.
So Nigerian elections are characterized by surprises. Now, the new phenomenon of vote buying.
Right.
Okay, is a surprise in an election. I think one mistake we make in Nigeria is we mischaracterize elections. We see elections as wars or as a war. Election is not a war. Election is a friendly sport like football. Imagine going to a football match, right? And then you go into the match, you see your opponents paying money, openly paying money to you are out of the contest.
That's true.
If you don't have money to pay.
That's true.
Or you see your opponent wielding guns, pointing guns at your goalkeeper, for example.
Right.
Get out of the way. If the goalkeeper gets out of the way, they score. Right? You're out of the contest if you don't have a gun.
That's true.
So that's process. So the process that drives our elections is as important as the outcome. So that is why you see Nigerians, the opposition, as long as these conditions continue to exist in our elections, it doesn't necessarily mean that the winner, the eventual winner, didn't win. But as long as these conditions surround the process that brought about that outcome, there will always be cry.
Got you.
So what represents free and fair elections in Nigeria is when these conditions have been obliterated completely from the system. If we can develop or devise a means where these vices, the vices, we don't need to begin to reel them out. All the vices.
Yes.
Okay, that's why I give you a universal sense of justness. So when these devices have been obliterated from our system, that's when we begin to have conversations about free and fair elections. And that is why it's been ubiquitous in our history of people. Nigerian elections have been characterized by violence, by thuggery, by police interference. So, yes.
Wow, I really see what you're saying, and that is so powerful. That is so powerful, so deep. So let's go to the next question, right? What are the most common ways in which electoral integrity is undermined? We've spoken about, justness of conditions, universal truth of the truth, right? We've spoken about justness being universally true. It's not only true here, it's true everywhere. So let's talk about the factors that undermine our electoral system and even our democracy: election rigging and manipulation. In what ways do these things make a jest or make fun of us as a nation and as a people? And before you answer that question, the last elections that was conducted in Ghana is a smaller country, but also a sovereign nation. And they were able to conduct an election that people largely agreed was free and fair. So factors like election rigging and manipulation, what does it make us look like as a people? And why are we still doing that at this age and time if elections are supposed to be a friendly sport?
Well, Simi, like I said earlier, our democracy is no longer nascent. Nigeria has come of age, and Nigerian democracy has come of age as well. I think the positive side I might have missed earlier in my answer is the fact that Nigeria has undergone several transitions since 1999. It's a progress made. But let me even tell you, the currency of democracy is transparency.
Wow.
The currency of democracy world over is transparency. If there is any remote suspicion or perception of lack of it, then that democracy becomes faulty. It can be described as a faulty democracy. If there is perception, I'm talking about perception here, I'm not talking about the actual fact of election stealing and all of that. Then if there is actual stealing, then you can say that there is no democracy. There is absolutely no democracy. Democracy thrives on transparency. And, I like to probe into the philosophical basis of everything, right? And then if you look at it, the idea is that sovereignty ultimately lies with the people. By the way, democracy conceptually translates to majority rule.
Right.
It translates to, that is the simplest meaning of democracy,
Right.
majority rule.
Right.
Now, how do you determine majority as to produce leadership in a democracy? It's through elections.
That's right.
Now, what it means is election is the only mechanism that legitimizes a government or a leadership under a democracy. It's foundational.
Right.
Anything you do that undermines that foundation upon which democracy is supposed to rest, it goes to the issue of legitimacy. And of course, it's legitimacy that confers authority on a leadership to, carry out their mandate.
Yeah.
What we're discussing is very critical. And if the conditions that guarantee transparency don't exist in a democracy, of course, it will look bad for our image. It means that we are a faulty democracy. And if these, vices still exist in the process, in our polity, then it means that our democracy can be described as faulty, and it's bad for the image of Nigeria. Nigeria is a giant of Africa.
Yes, sir.
Nigeria is the most populous black nation on earth. So, of course, these things bear on our image as a people as a nation.
They do indeed. Wow. Thank you so much. Let's talk about INEC. INEC is supposed to be an independent body that oversees our election process in Nigeria. Is INEC truly independent, in your opinion?
INEC is not independent, Semi, for reasons that we all know.
Right.
Because INEC is supposed to be an independent arbiter. INEC is an umpire in a sport. INEC is supposed to be an umpire, and it's not independent to the extent that, of course, you can't be a judge in your own cause. And so the fact that the president is the one that is the appointing power of the chairman of INEC. Of course, several recommendations have been made to strengthen INEC's independence, remove the powers of appointment powers of the chairman from the president and all of that. So to that extent, INEC cannot be described as an independent body. So many other reasons.
Yeah. Let's talk about the recommendations that have been made to strengthen INEC. If you were having a meeting with people that could make things happen and execute your recommendations on what INEC should be like, what are the things you think need to be moved around for us to have a stronger INEC that is capable of delivering an election that we can say this was free and fair?
I've talked about
the
appointment powers being removed from
the
president, right? INEC should be run by a committee. Power shouldn't be concentrated in one person as chairman of INEC. Yeah, I know the present structure has a semblance of that, but it should really be, I think it should represent different sectors. There should be religious representation on INEC and all of that. But primarily, my own suggestion will be to decentralize INEC. INEC is heavily burdened with the present structure. If INEC were to be decentralized, maybe break up INEC in regions, right? They will have better management processes and mechanisms for election day. So I would suggest a decentralization of INEC. I would have gone further than that, but I don't want to go deeper.
That's okay.
But a decentralization on the surface, decentralization of INEC in terms of in regional terms.
Right. Okay, that's really interesting. Very important question. What electoral reforms do you believe are most urgent if we want elections to truly reflect the will of the people?
Okay, I think our immediate problem as of date is to either minimize or completely relegate human intervention and human interference in our electoral process.
Wow.
I made reference to our anthropology. It's unfortunate. I say this without prejudice. This is Nigeria. We have a culture of, I don't want to be extreme.
Yes.
So it's an anthropological issue.
Right.
So our primary problem in our electoral process is how do we reduce human activity in our electoral process?
Right.
So for me, that's the primary reform that I'll propose, that we need at the moment. And of course, if we look around, we'll see that technology can actually solve that problem for us. So I'll leave it at that.
Right. That's really spot on. Let's talk about that a bit more. Let's talk about reducing human intervention. Now, there was a course I took on anti-corruption, and one of the things they have said in that course that leads to corruption is that personal discretion is involved in processes. When you leave processes to people to decide the outcome, or people are part of the decision-making, process that leads to the outcome, especially if it is left to their discretion, they will use their discretion the way they want. But on paper, they may say these are the things you should follow. But there's biases, there's preference, there's inclinations, there's proclivities, there's anthropology. So something might be right, but people decide not to do it. So one of the ways they had suggested to get rid of corruption in systems is to remove human intervention, remove the need for personal discretion. And I think that's what I hear right now, to say that if we leverage technology, of course, people will still be involved in the process. There will still be polling officers. There will still be, people voting. There will still be political parties. There will still be candidates for elections. However, that decision-making process, is it truly reflecting the will of the people? And that is what technology can help us deliver. So let's talk about what happened recently with the Electoral Act reforms, where the government had said that, okay, it's going to be electronic transmission real time. However, where this is not possible, let's use our usual manual method. And there was a lot of uproar across the country to say, no, let's make it real time. So my questions will be dual. The first will be, do you think that provision was made to give people the allowance to be able to manipulate the outcome of elections?
Of course. There's fear, there's palpable fear.
Right.
In the process. Politicians will always be politicians. Honestly, Simi, I'm not naive. We're in Nigeria and I'm a politician. I also like to identify as a politician.
Right.
All right?
Yeah.
So I don't live in utopia.
Right.
Okay? I understand politics of selfish interests, right? And this happens world over.
Right.
Okay? So that we don't sound sanctimonious.
Right.
Okay? Especially, I follow legislative politics a lot, so the majority will always carry the day.
Right.
And the party in power will always have their way, they will always protect their interest. The tragedy for Nigerians and Nigeria is that this has gone on for a long time.
Right.
And it doesn't help our system. It doesn't help our progress as a people. Some of these democracies where partisan politics are played, they have standards. They have established ironclad standards.
Right.
I would like to describe it as irreducible minimum standard. So everybody comes up there. They know that this is a standard. Then we can now play dirty within those standards. Okay, we can do our maneuvers, but within those standards. And I think one of the major problems we have in Nigeria, we have not achieved a universal standard of fairness that affects you, affects me, whether you're in power or you're not in power. Because the people in power today might lose power.
Of course.
And then what they did today will be deployed against them tomorrow. So that's how it works.
That's
okay?
True. Yeah.
And then to the detriment of the country and to Nigerians, because we have not attained, we have not set that standard that we are okay. It's what is called bipartisanship.
Right.
Even in the US, there are issues that, come to a bipartisan commission where, okay, that your interest, shelve it. Let's work to achieve this goal. So now, let me even answer you directly.
Right.
Now, Simi, in a democracy, okay, the ballot is king. The ballot is king in a democracy. And, any democracy where the ballot does not deliver election results with reasonable finality, then that is a tragedy.
Right.
Any democracy where the ballot does not deliver with reasonable finality is a tragedy. And I feel that Nigeria's electoral journey has been quite a journey. Very checkered journey. We've had a checkered history of electoral reforms. I think Nigeria's electoral reforms journey, okay, reflect our perpetual search to confer dignity to our ballot, to empower the Nigerian ballot right?
Yeah.
All these hula baloo, all these, reforms, all these, whether pretentious, whether real, whether
right.
we are searching for how do we make our ballot better. That is basically what we are searching for.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it appears that the search has been inordinate in Nigeria. It has been endless, and unfortunately so. And the idea is that sovereignty lies with the people. I told you earlier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sovereignty lies with the people.
Yeah.
And the character of democracy is, for you to form leadership, you must go back to the people, seek their consent through the submission of their, collective sovereign will.
Right.
Through a majority. Right? That is what democracy means, and nothing more pretentious.
Wow.
I've talked about, the ballots. Any democracy where the ballot is incapable of delivering with finality, of course, it's faulty. It's not a democracy.
Yeah.
And this pseudo amendment that we did, I told you earlier, I analyzed it. If you followed my train of thought, I told you that if we're able to achieve, the reduction or the complete obliteration of human intervention in our elections, then we can say we are getting there. We can begin to have discussions about free and fair elections, right?
Yeah.
And then it will also mean removing discretion from our law.
Right.
But this previous amendment that was attempted still taking the manual collation.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a story, right?
Yeah.
Now, Simi, the beavers and the IRF, these are technological tools introduced into our election management process to cure two mischiefs.
Right.
In the past, if you went to a polling unit, right, and looked at the register of voters in that polling unit, maybe you have 50 voters, 50 registered voters, right, with maybe 10 people, 20 people coming to accredit to vote at the election. Remember what validates your vote on election day is accreditation.
Yes.
And then remember, just follow my train of thought.
Yes.
You have 100 registered voters, 20 people coming to accredit to vote.
Yeah.
In the past, I'm talking about before the advent of the beavers Now, those 20 people voted.
Yes.
What used to happen in the past was politicians will come to the polling units, snatch ballot boxes, snatch ballot papers.
Right.
They will go and thumbprint at where only God knows where, come back to the polling unit, make the PO announce the results. Right. And then in most cases, in fact, the primary problem we had was overvoting. Right. In most cases, you find out that the result for that polling unit will be greater than the number of registered, even registered. I'm not even talking about accredited voters
you
now.
You can imagine. Registered,
you now
higher than that 100.
You now find out that even at that polling unit, you might now get 500 votes for a particular party. It's ridiculous. So that was the challenge we had in the past. And that was the mischief that the beavers came as a technological tool
to resolve.
Okay. The beavers came and sanitized that.
Right.
Such that accreditation is done scientifically.
Yeah.
And now the law went on to say, what constitutes the voter register for that polling unit is the number of accredited voters, and reference is no longer made to the voter register itself.
Right.
The general voter register for the polling unit. Yeah. What the law sees as the voter register for the purpose of proving or disproving an election is the number of accredited voters on the beavers record.
Right.
So if 20 people are accredited, whereas you had 100 registered voters, the law will only reckon with 20 people as having voted. And the number of votes can never be greater than the 20 that are accredited.
Yeah.
Right? It must mathematically add up.
Makes sense.
So that was what the beavers came to cure. Right?
Yeah.
Now for the IRF, the mischief the IRF came to cure, in the past also, we used to have this human intervention thing.
Yeah.
Okay? After voting, after computation and announcement of results, at the polling unit.
Yes.
The PO will travel.
Yeah.
By the way, I served as PO.
Nice.
And
you've really served to this country.
Yes, I've worked with INEC when I was a youth copper. Yeah, back in Ilorin, Kwara State.
Wow.
Yeah, I served as presiding officer.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, in 2011, 2002 for the election that brought Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed. Yeah,
wow.
I served as PO, so I know how these things work.
Right.
Now, the PO announces results, and all of that.
Yeah.
You now travel in a bus, Danfo bus, most times.
Wow.
Because normally now, and these are logistical challenges. Talking
see.
about the challenges of INEC, these are
Right.
logistical challenges.
Right.
Now, you travel in private rickety buses carrying very sensitive election materials. Those trips are very risky. On the bus, you will find people threatening your life. As a PO, opposing, parties who failed the lost election, they will be threatening. Copper will kill you. Don't worry, before you get to local government collation center, you will die,
Wow.
So these are the risks. So the IRF came to shut away that